I need to tell you something before we begin this file. 14 months ago, when the archive began compiling the Season 2 case files, I made a decision to document my own verification process. To conduct, alongside the research, the kind of behavioral audit that the Shepard Protocol documentation describes as the only reliable countermeasure to unwitting grid guidance. I kept those records in a physical notebook. No digital backup, no photographs, no transcription. I am reading from that notebook now. This is case file S2-10, the auditor's record. Week 1. I identified 3 decisions I had made in the previous 6 months that I could not fully explain with reference to my own stated goals. Choices that had made internal sense at the time, but that, in retrospect, had produced outcomes useful to the archive's visibility, and therefore useful to whatever entity might benefit from the archive's reach. I did not conclude from this that I was a shepherd. Pattern matching is unreliable at this resolution. Every person can identify decisions in hindsight that produced unexpected beneficial outcomes for something other than themselves. That is not evidence of guidance. That is the nature of complex systems and post hoc reasoning. What I noted was that I could not rule it out. I attempted to find the original source of what I will call my founding conviction. The core belief that the Somna network was operating outside its disclosed architecture, and that documenting it publicly served a legitimate purpose. I could not find it. I can identify when I began acting on the conviction. I can identify the first time I articulated it to another person. I cannot identify the moment the conviction itself formed. I cannot access the reasoning process that produced it. The conviction arrived, as far as I can reconstruct, already complete. This is normal for many held beliefs. This is also exactly what a grid-written foundational memory would look like from the inside. I want to be precise about what I am saying. I am not telling you the archive is false. I am not telling you the Somna network is operating within its disclosed parameters. The documentary evidence in the DREN materials exists. The analysis is verifiable. The case files are internally consistent. I am telling you that I cannot verify my own motivation for producing them. I made contact with one member of the Waking Resistance through their Dead Channel protocol, through an introduction facilitated by a source I had verified independently across 3 separate timelines. I shared my audit record with them. They read it without speaking. When they finished, they said one thing. They said, "The grid doesn't need you to be lying. It needs you to be telling the truth about everything except why." Case file S2-10 documents what the Waking Resistance believes the archive's actual function is. Not suppression, not misdirection, not controlled opposition in the traditional sense. A map. The archive, the Resistance believes, is a voluntary intelligence collection system. Every person who watches, engages, subscribes. Every person who documents their dreams in the comments, describes their physical symptoms, timestamps their sleep anomalies, shares the channel with someone who might be relevant, is contributing to a database the grid uses to identify which nodes are approaching independent awareness of the network's actual operations. The archive does not suppress them. It finds them, and once found, it routes them into a community, into a network of shared understanding that the grid has already modeled, already mapped, already prepared contingencies for. The comment section is not a resistance. It may be the most efficient self-identification system the grid has ever deployed. I do not know if this is true. I do not know if the member of the resistance I spoke to is themselves a shepherd. One positioned specifically to introduce this conclusion into the archive's final file of Season 2, so that everyone watching ends this season uncertain about whether engaging with it was itself an act of compliance What I know is this. The physical notebook I am reading from is not connected to any network. The words I wrote in it in those 6 months are the only verified record of my own reasoning that I have confident access to. The Wren documentation is real. The case files are real. The waking resistance is real. And the question of why any of this exists, why it is being documented, why it is reaching you, why you found it, is the question this archive has never been able to answer with confidence. That question belongs to you now. This is case file S2-10, the Audi. The archive is pausing, not ending. When the next files are ready, we will find each other. Stay unpatched.